Hello, dear students. This is Susma Singh from Booster Classes, and I welcome you back with a very big heart to today's session, wherein we shall do the comprehensive study of a very light-hearted short story from Beehive book of Standard 9 CBSE. The title of this story, which you can relate to very well, is The Little Girl, composed by Katherine Mansfield, who was a prominent modernist short story writer from New Zealand. Well, students, for more videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and you can also drop your valuable comments. In today's session, I'm going to give you the core of this short story in an extremely coherent and lucid manner so that you can apprehend with ease the setting of the story, its plot, climax, and theme. And we shall also be doing the character sketch and comprehension check at the end. First and foremost, let me give you the overview of the story. The Little Girl is a story of a little girl named Kezia who misunderstood her father's strictness and usually remained scared of him. So she preferred to stay out of his sight and was relaxed only during his absence. However, this dry relationship underwent a drastic change towards the end of the story, and her feelings for her father changed from fear to understand. And this will probably find an echo in every home. Every child can relate to Kezia's story very well. And towards the end, she is happy to find that her father is not a figure to be feared, but a person to be adored. All the episodes in the story describes the experiences, the opinions, and the observations made by Kezia. So let's find out what happened that made Kezia realize her father's love and warmth. Well, students, now with the help of a story map, I shall make you comprehend the storyline of this particular story. We all know that a story has 5 important elements like setting, plot, climax, characters, and theme. Now, one by one, we shall discuss all these elements of the story. So let's take a look at the setting of this particular story. Setting is actually the time and place a story takes place, and this story takes place at a little girl Kezia's house where she lived with her parents and her grandmother. Kezia felt a sense of relief when her father left for office because she feared her father's strictness and terrifying looks. She felt uncomfortable and used to stammer in his presence. She always avoided him. On returning home, her father would order for his tea. He demanded the newspaper and would ask to get him his sleepers also. Kezia's mother would ask her to go and take off his shoes. When she entered his room, he looked at her sternly, and this made her realize that her father was really a hard-hearted man. Now, proceeding further, we shall now understand the plot, which is nothing but the series of events that make up a story. And for your better understanding, I have divided the plot into 5 logical events. So, the first event of the plot is about Sunday afternoon. Let us find out what happens every Sunday afternoon at Kezia's house. Every Sunday during the afternoon, Kezia's grandmother encouraged her to go downstairs to the drawing room in order to spend time with her parents. She actually wanted Kezia to have a strong bond of love and affection with her parents. And Kezia was supposed to behave in a very nice and decent way in front of her parents. But when she went to her parents, they were busy doing their own things. She found her mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa. She felt a bit neglected. And this is the reason why Kezia had a very formal relation with her parents. Well, talking about the second logical event of the plot, we shall come to know about Kezia's efforts to please her father. So it was actually once when she was kept indoor as she was affected by cold, her grandmother suggested her to make a surprise gift for father's birthday, thinking that that could possibly bring them both closer. She worked hard to make a nice pincushion for her father's birthday as it was suggested by her grandmother. Now Kezia needed paper to stuff in the pincushions. She found some sheets of paper in her father's room. She unknowingly destroyed some of his important papers while stuffing the cushion. But it was her sheer luck, bad luck, that those were not useless papers as she had thought. It was indeed an important speech written by her father, and he had to deliver that speech at some important function. Next order of the event is that why did Kezia's father punish her? Now we know that unfortunately it was very unfortunate that the Kezia's effort to please her father not only went in vain but also had an unanticipated consequences. Hearing that the sheet Kezia had torn to stuff the cushion were his important sheets, he got very furious and he was tremendously agitated and punished her by hitting her arm with a ruler to teach her not to touch anything that did not belong to her. She was literally now heartbroken, upset, and wept bitterly, and even wondered why God, why the Almighty had made fathers. Her grandmother, the only member in the family who was very understanding, tried to console her, tried to pacify her with her affectionate words, and even offered a handkerchief. Now, we will see that what effect does her neighbor, Kezia's neighbor, McDonald's had on her. There lived the McDonald family next door to the house of Kezia. She is surprised to see the father playing lovingly with his 5 children because Kezia's father never played with her. In fact, he was always serious. Now she was jealous of the family. Mr. McDonald was of a jovial nature. He was a loving, gentle, tolerant, careful, and forgiving father. This fun scene made her convinced, and she concluded that there were different kinds of fathers in the world. And her own father was very cruel, very harsh, and insensitive according to her. Now, students, here we come to the turning point of the story. I mean, the climax of the story. What happened actually was that when her mother, Kezia's mother, fell ill and had to be taken to the hospital, accompanied by the grandmother, Kezia was left alone at home with the cook, Alice. The day was fine, but at night, when the cook put Kezia to bed all alone and ordered her not to scream and disturb her father, who was sleeping in the next room. However, she had a terrible nightmare. She saw a butcher with a knife and a rope standing in front of her, and she screamed very loudly. Upon hearing her screams, her father took her to his room, comforted her, and made her sleep close to him. Now, we have come to the falling action of the plot, that is Kezia's changed opinion. When she lay beside her father, she felt secure and protected. And at that moment, her view of father underwent a change for the better. And she realized that he was not a cruel giant, but a large-hearted man who was not devoid of tender human feelings. He was a hard-working man who got extremely exhausted by the end of the day. Beneath his rough exterior was hidden his deep love and affection for her daughter Kezia. Now, students, with this, we have almost covered up the 3 important elements of the story, that is the setting, the plot, and the climax. Now, talking about the theme of this story, it is that the theme of the story is the relation between the children and their parents, and the writer Katherine Mansfield wants to tell us that children share a very important bond of love with their parents. Although when children are small, when they are young, they do not feel that their parents love them because their parents are strict and many actions of the parents seems unjustified to children. But as children grow up, they realize that all the acts done by their parents were beneficial for them. The parents were concerned for them, and beneath the strictness lies a heart full of love for the children. And this bond of love between parents and their children has been highlighted very beautifully through this story. Now, talking about the character, we already know Kezia is the protagonist who was an emotional, obedient, and innocent girl who feared her father and even avoided him. Kezia's father was a domineering personality, a strict disciplinarian, and a hard-working and a busy man. Talking about her mother, she was actually a meek woman who preferred to work in accordance with her husband's expectation. Grandmother, Kezia's grandmother, was the only one in the family member with whom she was drawn to. Kezia's grandmother was very mature, understanding, affectionate, and a loving lady. She was the one who literally wanted to bridge the widening gap between Kezia and her father. Now, this is all about the story, the little girl named Kezia. So, you must have understood how, in the beginning, Kezia was fearful of her father because she was unaware of his love. When she was bitten by her father, her fear changed into horror because she had no knowledge about the true love of father. But in the end, her fear vanished. It changed into understanding because she understood her father in true sense. Here are a few important questions from the chapter for your comprehension check. Taking help from the explanation which I have just given to you, try to solve these questions and enhance your understanding. Keep watching to get the detailed analysis of other chapters too. Thank you.